Hello everybody, today's December 15th, 2010. Well, the out-of-control Congress is at it again with their new spending bill. They have to pass a budget. So, the lawmakers are on a spending spree when the country's in the worst financial situation it's ever been in. I can't believe the irresponsibility of these lawmakers. It's totally ridiculous. They've put in $8.3 billion in earmarks into this bill. It's a $1.1 trillion spending bill. It has a lot of defense spending and all the spending they need to run the country. But you don't need to throw in $8 billion for pet projects. It's totally ridiculous. All these earmarks that are put in by senators so they can, they're basically bribes. Earmarks are bribes. You're bribing the people in your state, or you're bribing each other because you don't really care for the bill. Well, here, I'll give you swine waste management for your state. So, maybe that'll make you vote for it. I mean, they're bribing these people to vote for stuff. This is totally ridiculous. There's 6,400 earmarks, at least, in this bill. 2,000-page bill. And they just throw all this stuff in there. It's totally ridiculous. So I've listed here a few that I'm going to go through. They've got $277,000 for potato pest management in Wisconsin. They think it's necessary to spend $246,000 on bovine tuberculosis in Michigan and Minnesota, $522,000 on cranberry and blueberry disease and breeding in New Jersey, and $500,000 on oyster safety in Florida. Now, let's see what President Obama thinks about earmarks.
Not a single earmark. Without earmarks or the usual pork barrel spending, I'm proud that we passed a recovery plan free of earmarks. Pork barrel spending in Washington is fraught with abuse.
Pork barrel spending in Washington is fraught with abuse. This is called pork. All this stuff they stuff into the bill here. So he's proud of passing bills without any pork in them. Last year, he passed a bill that had 9,000 earmarks. He promised us no earmarks when he was running to be president. They also want virus-free wine grapes in Washington. $247,000 of our money needs to go to that in Washington. $208,000 needs to go for beaver management. $94,000 needs to go to blackbird management in Louisiana. They want $165,000 for maple syrup research in Vermont. Haven't they been making maple syrup for 100 years? We gotta research it for. $235,000 for noxious weed management in Nevada. And the Edgar Allan Poe Cottage Visitor Center in New York needs $100,000 of our money when the national debt's pushing $14 trillion here in the next week. We're gonna hit $14 trillion. The interest on that is $400 billion a year. Now, interest rates are starting to go up. They're up, the last few weeks, they're up a full percentage point on the 10-year note. That's from 2.4% up to 3.4. I think we were 3.5 today. That's a huge move in interest rates. Now, Bernanke said that he's going to be forcing long-term rates lower. That's what he's doing. He's not printing money. He's making long-term rates go down. Well, no, he's not. They're going up. So Bernanke, Q2 is failing. And I'm sure we'll be hearing about Q3 soon. Let's hear what else the president has to say about earmarks. Talking to John McCain in a debate here.
John, nobody is denying that $18 billion is important. And absolutely we need earmark reform. And when I'm president, I will go line by line to make sure that we are not spending money unwisely. Line by line.
He's going to go line by line. So I guess he's going to see all of these things here. And he's, if he doesn't veto this bill, I guess he'll see that there's no wasteful spending going on. $300,000 is needed for Polynesian Voyaging Society in Hawaii. $400,000 is necessary for the solar parking canopies and the plug-in electric stations in Kansas. Now, can't Kansas buy these things on their own? Well, the government needs to provide solar parking. $720,000 is going to be to compensate ranchers whenever an endangered wolf eats their cattle. Why should you and I have to pay for that in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Michigan? And then we have Harry Reid, who's got 15 pages of pet projects in this bill that they're about to vote on. $500 million for his state of Nevada that he believes he knows best where to put that money. He knows what projects and and what nonprofits need the money. And then we have the Republicans who have their bill saying, well, we need to do away with earmarks, but we're going to have congressionally directed spending. What is that? That's the same thing as an earmark. Congressionally directed spending? That's just another name for an earmark. I mean, come on. Let's see what else Obama has to say here on earmarks.
The earmarks process has been abused.
The earmark process has been abused. Okay, so what's he going to do about it? He has an opportunity here to veto this bill. He can veto it and show us how much earmarks really mean to him. Here's a month ago. Here's President Obama speaking a month ago. Let's see what he had to say about earmarks.
In these challenging days, we can't afford what are called earmarks. These are items inserted into spending bills by members of Congress without adequate review. Now, some of these earmarks support worthy projects in our local communities, but many others do not. We can't afford bridges to nowhere like the one that was planned a few years back in Alaska. Earmarks like these represent a relatively small part of overall federal spending, but when it comes to signaling our commitment to fiscal responsibility, addressing them would have an important impact. As a senator, I helped eliminate anonymous earmarks and created new measures of transparency so Americans can better follow how their tax dollars are being spent. As president, time and again, I've called for new limitations on earmarks. We've reduced the cost of earmarks by over $3 billion.
Well, here's an opportunity to reduce them by $8 billion more.
By putting as much information as possible on earmarks.gov. In fact, this week, we updated the site with more information about where last year's earmarks were actually spent and made it easier to look up members of Congress and the earmarks they fought for. Today, we have a chance to go further. We have a chance not only to shine a light on a bad Washington habit that wastes billions of taxpayer dollars, but take a step towards restoring public trust. We have a chance to advance the interests not of Republicans or Democrats, but of the American people, to put our country on the path of fiscal discipline and responsibility that will lead to a brighter economic future for all. And that's a future.
Okay, Mr. President Obama, I guess you won't have a problem vetoing this bill then, will you? If you'd like to see what your senators representing your state feel that they know how to best spend your tax money, you can go to endingspending.com and see state by state where the senators, how much they've asked for in earmarks, and you can look at it for yourself. Thank you.